Working on a Galaxy S2 with a charging port problem. It's not charging, so we're gonna do a charging port replacement. Typically, if a charging port is broken or if it's loose and you have to play with it for it to charge, it's more than likely a charging port issue that and you would need a charging port replacement. This is a soldering job, not a replacement part. And I'm going to show you how we do this here. Basically, we start by taking the screws. There's 6 screws on the back of the frame. Take all 6 screws out. Take the battery out, of course, with a pry tool. And the whole LCD assembly comes loose from the frame, from the back frame. This is the LCD connector cable. With a pry tool, pry it open. The vibrator cable, front facing camera cable, and then the keys cable. 2 screws, one here and one on the bottom. Take those out too. Then the whole motherboard comes out. Always when you want to work on soldering, make sure it's a clean circuit, clean motherboard. There's no dust, there's nothing that's covering the prongs of the charging port. It'll be easier to come out. So I just clean it with a brush using acetone or alcohol. It's good. It dries quickly and it doesn't leave any corrosion behind. Using a heat gun, we're gonna heat the area that's around the charging port. You can cover the the parts that sit near the charging ports, like those transmitters, if you're if it's gonna be your first time and you're not sure, because those will start moving around if you put a lot of heat in that area. I've done many of those, so I'm not gonna use that, and I'm just gonna use my heat gun. Alright, this is the new charging port. When you're ready to install it, make sure those prongs, you have as many in here to know that you did a good job, because if one of those is missing, that means you messed up the whole motherboard. That's why you always got to put a lot of heat in this area, so when this lifts up, it lifts up at ease, and the prongs just don't stay stick in there, and then you just rip it off from the root, and there's nothing to solder on top. So that's important. Using some flux, running over the area that you're gonna put some solder. It makes it a little bit juicier and the solder doesn't stick, and it stays liquidy, and it's easier to mold and ground together. And install the new charging port. Don't worry about the solder being outside of the holes still. Just need a straight to position it straight. That's it. Should just take some of the adhesive that's on the some of the solder that's sitting on the motherboard and move it to those prongs. That's it. This will work for any Samsung model, pretty much any Galaxy S2, S3, Notes, and any other types of phones as well. We have the parts in stock, and we can have them installed more than likely same day, and we'll save you money on changing your charging ports rather than throwing it away, or maybe just going and buying another one. If there's valuable stuff on your phone and you can't retrieve it because your charger just stopped charging, stop and see us. Maybe we can fix that. Another thing, just hints, if your charging port is loose or if it's broken, of course you obviously need the charging port replacement, but if it's losing a charge, it could be just a battery. Just a hint to let you know. Maybe just start up changing your charger at the house, first before you bring it to us, or maybe try to change your battery, because those could also affect the charging ports, you know, and you may think it's a charging port, but it's not. It's probably a charger itself rather than a charging port. So try those at home before you stop by, and if neither works, then more than likely you need a charging port replacement. Samsung Galaxies, iPhones we do, tablets, anything that requires soldering, and sometimes also or replacements, we do those. Come see us.